Hey everybody, it's Colton here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use EEG Lab to import data and events from BIOPAC AcqKnowledge. So the very first thing you're going to want to do is export the AcqKnowledge file in a way that MATLAB can load. And in an effort to do that, you would just open the project in AcqKnowledge and then just go to File, Save As, and right underneath the file name, there's a drop down where you can change the file type. And in the file type, you would just hit the MATLAB option and save it. And then take that file and put it on the computer that you're running EEG Lab on. So I'm going to go ahead and open EEG Lab by typing in EEG Lab within MATLAB. And the very first thing you want to make sure of is that you have this plugin. So you go to File and Manage EEG Lab Extensions. And once this window comes up, you can go to Search and just type in BIOPAC. And you want to install this BioSig right here. So you would select it and then hit that install/update button. Now, I have tried the BioPack plugin. It claims it can import AcqKnowledge files directly. It does not work for me. So be sure you install this BioSig plugin. And then once you do that, you just go to EEG Lab, File, Import Data, using EEG Lab functions and plugins. And we're going to do a from BioPack MATLAB file. And now we're just going to find the MATLAB file that we exported from AcqKnowledge. And I'm going to name this tutorial. And you can see it loads up here. And now we're going to work on importing the events. So when you import the data from AcqKnowledge, it does not import the events automatically. So we're going to go to Edit and select Data. And then we hit this button here. It's going to give us a list of our channels. So when AcqKnowledge records an event automatically, it writes it to a data channel. You can see here, these are my data channels. And you're going to want to make note of the ones that you want. You want both the channel number and the name. So I have already done that over here. So I have the name of the channel, and then I have the channel number as well. So I'm going to exit out of here, go to File, Import Event Info, Import from Data Channel. And in the event channel here, it does say we can add multiple channels. You can do this, but it will give all the events the exact same name, which I don't want because these are separate events. So as a result, we have to do this every single time for every event we have. So I'll start with 20. Transitions to extract. You want to use this drop down arrow to go down to down and trailing. And you actually have to click it to make sure that it's selected. Transaction length, you want to put 1. You do not want to delete the channel because it messes up the number. And you do not want to delete old events. You can select all events the same type. And now you're just going to hit OK. And as you see here, we imported 35 events. And you're going to want to do that again for all the event channels that you have. Alright everybody, I have saved you the boredom of watching me import all the channels one by one. And now what we're going to have to do is rename the events. So you can see here I now have 172 events, and I'm going to go to edit, and we're going to do select epochs or events, and we're going to hit this button here, and you're going to see your events were added, and it's just a channel name. I have like channel 20, 21, and it goes alongside my channels with the events here. Once again, we're going to have to do this one by one, and we're going to select the first one, and be sure you unselect keep only selected events and remove all other events. It will remove everything else. Here is a key. You will see later why we do this, but every single event name here needs to have a number, and the number needs to be unique, and it cannot be 0, so it has to be a positive number. So channel 20, for example, is left regular onset 1 for me. I am going to just paste that in here after selecting channel 20. And once again, we're going to have to do this every single time. Now when you go to save, it's going to want you to save the new data set. So what this means is that it's creating an entirely new data set. You can go to data set here, and this is my previous one before I renamed all the events. And then this is the one with the events renamed. This way, if you ever make a mistake, you don't have to go back and redo everything. You can just go to your previous data set. So we're going to do all the channels one by one. Once again, be sure you do not keep this selected. I don't know why it's selected by default, but it is. And you're just going to run through this until you've done each and every one of them, and you've renamed it to what you want. And again, you want to ensure that all your names have a number, and you will see why this is important when we get to ERPLAB. Okay, so I'm going to do this and then resume the recording. Alright, so now we've renamed all of our events. We need to delete all the channels we don't need. As you can see here, I have 32 channels in total, when in reality I only need 8. So we're going to go to edit and then select data, and then we're going to look at our channels here, and we're going to find the ones that we want to keep. So for me, I am keeping 3 to 10. Everything else I'm removing. I'm only keeping 3 to 10 because that's the only EEG data that I need now. I'm going to go to channel range, and I'm going to do 3:10. And what this is it's a range. It's 3 to 10, and it's going to remove everything else. So I'm going to hit OK here. I'm sorry, you gotta close that first. And now I have 8 channels. Awesome. Now let's set the channel locations. So we're going to go to edit, and we're going to go to channel locations, and we're going to use the default option. Now there is a bug here. If we try to look up the locations automatically, what's going to happen is that nothing's going to happen. It will not import anything. So there's a easy fix. I don't necessarily know why it works, but all you have to do is just retype it or copy and paste it. So this is PZ. I can copy PZ and paste it, or you can retype it, FP1, P2, and actually these are C3 and C4. The import is wrong. I know the channel names or the channels that I'm using, and here's F3 and F4. F3 and F4 are actually T3 and T4. So we're going to put the channel label that we know we use in our setup, and we're going to go back to lookup locations. And now it's going to give us the proper locations, as you can see. And you just hit OK here. I'm going to go ahead and save my current data sets. And I'm going to name it tutorial. Awesome. So now we have our data imported. We removed the channels we don't need. We have the events imported, and we have the location set up. Now we can get to analyzing the ERP data. So you're going to want the ERPLAB plugin. If you don't have that, you would go down here again to manage EEG Lab extensions and then install ERPLAB through there. And we're just going to open ERPLAB and go to event list, and we're going to create EEG event list. And you're going to get a warning here. And what the warning is saying is that if you remember the event names, ERPLAB only uses the numbers. So the events are just going to become these numbers here. And you'll see why here in a moment. But this is why having this recorded, the name and the number, keeping all that as a note to the side is very important. So we're going to hit create here, and it's going to create a new data set. This is for the ERP list. And now we can go down to event list and do summarize current EEG event codes at command window. I'm going to show you what that looks like just for reference. So these are my events, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This is why keeping note of what the events are is very important. Okay, so now on to the difficult part of the tutorial. We have to create a bin list and assign our events to bins. So right now we have our events over here. You know, I got left, regular, onset. I got the correct and incorrect responses. We have to tell the software how to categorize those events and place them into epochs or segments of time for the ERP analysis. So we're going to go to assign bins, and we're going to get a window like here. So it says load bin descriptor from. This is going to be a file that you create, a text file. And it's going to look something very much like this. What you have here is the event start and then the event end. And these numbers correspond with our event types over here. So this is why having a number on the event names was so important. From here, what we're going to do is, for example, this is right regular. So this is when the subject was responded to respond with their right hand and they were not primed in any way. So the onset is number 2, which is right regular onset. And then we don't care if they got it right or wrong. So we can do 5 regular correct and then 6 regular incorrect. And you have to be very specific about how these are laid out, how you're using your brackets and your semicolon. So I am going to leave a link to the tutorial in the description. And your bins have to be categorized or numbered. 1, 2, 3, 4, how many have we got? This is the description of the bin right here. And then this is the start. Let's just like event 4 right here. It's right prime onset. And then again, we don't care if they got it right or wrong, so we are doing it for trials that they get it right and trials that they get it wrong. And you're going to want to create this text file to your specifications. And you're just going to want to select it here and hit run. And then it's going to save the new data set for you. Okay, so now I have assigned my bins and I have to extract the bin-based epochs now. So this is going to take the bins and actually take the epochs, the segment of time, and I'm going to specify -200 to 1,000. So this is in milliseconds, and the very center is going to be the beginning of the event. So for example, in my bin 1, I have write regular, and it starts at 2, so it starts at the onset. So I'm going to get time from the exact onset and 1,000 milliseconds afterwards and -200 milliseconds before the onset. And this is going to do this for every event that I have, every bin that I have. So you just hit run there and it's going to create a new data set again. Now that I've extracted my bin-based epochs, we're going to want to go down here to compute averaged ERPs. And just hit run here. You're going to have to type in a name for the ERP set. And just go ahead and hit OK. And before I look at my data, there's one more thing that I need to do. And actually a few things. The first thing I need to do is go to ERP bin operations. And now what this allows you to do is take the bins that you already have and combine them or subtract them. You get a lot of different options here. And so, for example, I have bins for both right regular and left regular onset. Well, what if I want both? Like, what if I don't care which hand the participant has to move, but rather I just want to compare the regular trial to the non-regular trial, to the prime trial? Well, we can do that. You can see here I'm creating a new bin. This is bin 9, and it's going to equal bin 1 plus bin 2. So that's right regular and left regular. And then this is the label. So that's just regular. I also have primed, which is pretty much the same thing, but it's for left prime and right prime onset. And then I have bin 1 and bin 4. These are the right hand, regardless if it's prime or regular. And then same thing down here, adding 2 and 3 together is for the left hand. So this will add new bins by taking the bins I already have and adding them together. And there's a lot more you can do than add them together. Maybe you want to subtract events to see the difference. There's a lot of options here, but I'm going to try to keep it as simple as I can for now. Let's go ahead and hit run. So now I have my bin set up. Another thing I want to do is run a filter on the ERP data. So we go down the ERPLAB up here, filter and frequency tools, and filters for ERP data. And I actually already have settings that I use. I get these from Steve Luck, and so far I've had luck with them. So these are the settings that he used in one of his videos. I might have modified it a little bit, I don't remember, but for now, this is what I'm going to use. It's a low pass filter, and we just hit apply there, and it's going to have us create a new ERP set. So just like you have multiple data sets, you also have multiple ERP sets. Finally, I'm going to go to ERPLAB and go down to plot ERP waveforms. Now we get a lot of options here, but you can keep just about everything default for now. However, I'm going to unselect all bins and hit browse. And this is a list of the bins that I have. And for this tutorial, what I'm going to compare is our regular to our primed. So just bin 9, bin 10, I'm going to select them and hit OK and hit plot. So this is going to compare the ERPs for when there's a prime and when there's not. Ooh, okay. Try to get away. There we go. Okay, so what we see here is a strong P200 on FP1 and FP2 on the trials that there was a prime at. You can also see it some here at FC. So that is going to conclude my tutorial. Thank you for watching.